started off in Paybush, where we went to visit farm access road. About 26 farmers farm there, diversified farmers including livestock farmers. And so we have identified the issue confronting the farmers there and based on their advice. And so we've directed that we move as early as next week to engage in the first phase, which is the clearing of the road, the reinstatement of the earth drains, the unblocking of the culverts, and then a second assessment will be done with regards to the surfacing, where we need to do some new road surfacing. So the farmers are pretty happy about this intervention. It will no doubt enhance the access to their farms. And of course, we took the opportunity to engage the farmers as well on the other issues confronting them. And we have agreed to set up a meeting with the farmers in the nearest future. Also in Paybush, we have given directions on improving the access to a place called Park, which is lands the government acquired many years ago to allow for village expansion for Paybush in particular, for housing. And so we have, in the last 5 or 6 years, subdivided that portion of land into lots. And so we'll move in as early as this weekend to start clearing the access roads and to seek to clear the portion of land where we will be building as a first phase some 16 homes, resilient homes for the residents of Paybush. And of course the Ministry of Public Works is working on several interventions with retaining walls, because Paybush, as you know, is in a ridge and erosion there is very prominent. So we have been putting systems in place by means of retaining walls to mitigate against the soil erosion. So this is where we are with Paybush, and I think we left Paybush for quite wide cross-section of people very satisfied with those suggestions and those interventions, and then, so we'll keep to ensure that those interventions are done. Of course, then we went to Tibo, which is part of the Vegas constituency. The first instance was to look at the realignment of a section of the road, a place called Monsavon. The whole intention is to see how we can realign the road to allow for a container truck to be able to get beyond Tibo and into Vegas through Tibo. And so the ministry had done a design based on surveys, and from my layman standpoint, I thought that it would not have satisfied the objective. And they agreed eventually, and they decided to go back to the field to do a review and to seek to get to a realignment. So they came up with a realignment, and the idea was to go there physically, myself, along with the Minister of Public Works, his staff, and other colleagues, to walk the track. And by going there on the field along with technical people, we recognized that we could allow for the realignment to be even shorter than what was currently being proposed. And so they're going to go back to the drawing board and to see whether that which is suggested is plausible. So that's part of it. It's an important piece of road. It's an important section. That's the only section of the road between Blenheim and Penville that has not been addressed because of the terrain and of course the elevations of that particular section of the road. And of course, I have mandated that the retaining wall is a retaining wall that needs to be done in a community within Tibo called Pauline, which is up on the hills. And so there's an urgent requirement there. And then going into village, we have this culvert that we need to reconstruct in Tibo. So those will be done, God's willing, in January of 2022. We'll start those. But once we get the designs on the main road and we approve this, then we'll see work started on this. And people are fully aware of this. Of course, we took an opportunity to meet with the council, the chairman, and the councillors, and they raise additional issues and concerns of the community, which are all reasonable. One of them is the school, and we have funding from the Chinese government to build the school. The Chinese government submitted a design to us. We have made changes to the design. They have made those changes. We are now awaiting the Chinese to provide us with a schedule of implementation. So we're waiting on this patiently and diligently. We're hoping we can get it sooner rather than later, because the 5 other schools which we have to build under this offer from the Chinese government are all in critical conditions. Goodwill Secondary School, Tetmon Primary School, Sineku, Calibiche is an urgent situation. And we have also to provide for accommodation for the children of P.D.7 who now reside in Bellevue-Chopin. So we're collapsing Bellevue-Chopin into one school, and we need to build a proper school to accommodate both Bellevue-Chopin students and also the P.D.7 students, so that they don't have to come into town, continue into town to school. So we have funding, yes, but time is of the essence for all of the students, including those in Tibo and so on.
Going on ground, it was complete different animal. That's when we were able to hear from the Prime Minister and the Parliament one-on-one, and hear from the people that the problem really is access by 40-footers and 20-foot container trucks, and the challenges that they have with offloading at the bottom of the hill and reloading and shuttling with smaller trucks and buses and so on. So that was the problem. We got to the root cause. As a result, we had to go back to the drawing board, and we used some of our LiDAR surveys, and we were able to basically do preliminary designs for an area section that we felt would create a much better alignment and slope. That's both horizontal and vertical alignment, to allow for the larger trucks to access the community. So we came today with a proposal. The Prime Minister, the man who he is, received the preliminary drawings about 2 weeks ago, I would say, and he felt that we had to come on ground. He needed to track this himself before we continue further with approval. And this exercise was certainly beneficial for us as a ministry. And by walking that route today, we're able to see that at one area we could optimize the design by choosing a shorter path that in effect was even safer from an engineering standpoint. So there was certainly benefit to that.
So the idea is to build a multi-purpose structure in Portsmouth, which is, for now we call it an administrative building, but it will allow for the provision of accommodation for all of government services in Portsmouth, including the sub-treasury, the post office, the adult education, community development, sports and education and health, and all of the government offices will be housed in that structure. We'll also make provisions for the town council, the mayor's office, boardroom for the council, meeting rooms, space for the public, and of course the member of parliament will have accommodation there as well, office space there as well. And being the second town and being representative of the entire north, the Prime Minister will also have a small office there, so that he could come in there from time to time to avail himself to the residents of Portsmouth and the rest of the north of Dominica. And on the ground floor, we will use it as a town hall. It would be a large space that can sit comfortably no less than 500 people, with kitchen facilities, showers, washrooms, and the other associated amenities. So it would be, I want it to be a building to be behold, you know, that people need to come from far and near to take pictures and to stand before it. You know, it has to be something that the people of Portsmouth will say, yes, thank you very much. We're very grateful for this building. And so to complement this building, we've been talking in Portsmouth, and you recognize I'm saying we because, I'm from Portsmouth, about the bypass. Because the Borough Square has certainly outlived its time. There's so many buses, and now almost everybody in Portsmouth and the North has their own private vehicles. The congestion there can be troublesome. So we're looking at not diverting, but using a bypass, so that traffic coming in from the north, Vacars, Penville, Calibishi, and so on, can bypass the Borough Square and vice versa. And at that area, we'll create a bus terminal and appropriate parking for them. We intend to acquire additional lands in that area because the original plan also is to build the new police station for Portsmouth in that new location and allow for the Bay Street to be for more commercial activities, etc. And of course, we have given a commitment to build a netball court, a lawn tennis court, and also volleyball, and to reconstruct the basketball court in Portsmouth. So these facilities will be redone. We will finalize the drawings very soon, and work will go ahead. So I've mandated that we need to start this administrative building within the first half of 2022. So we have to crank up. There is a working group has been established under the chairmanship of the PAL Rep, Honorable Douglas, and it comprises of the mayor, Her Worship the Mayor, and some councillors and some different leaders within the town of Portsmouth who will spearhead this effort on behalf of government. And one of the things that we also had proposed in some budgets ago was to create a special regime of concessions for the town of Portsmouth, persons who wish to reconstruct or to build new structures within the municipality of Portsmouth to upgrade the buildings and to enhance the town of Portsmouth. So we will be, in the new year, we will be articulating the terms and conditions of that policy framework, so that persons who are building, we tend to build, whether it's for private or commercial business, would benefit. Once you build it within a particular boundaries of town of Portsmouth, you will benefit from some concessions. So I'm very excited for this, and I myself personally will also be overseeing this administrative building for Portsmouth, because I think it's absolutely needed, and it certainly enhance the offering of services in Portsmouth and enhance the ambience of the town of Portsmouth. I want to thank the principals of Colihaut and also the local staff here for the exceptional partnership they've had with Dominica from 2004. I recall they coming here in 2004, and originally it was supposed to be on a temporary basis, but it turned out to be a very long-term relationship, and so Dominica has enjoyed a mutually beneficial relationship with Colihaut. The principals, Mr. Brian, and the main principal, Mr. Brian Lambert, based in the United States, has been an exceptional partner. And also Fidel has also been, Fidel, who's one of the employees, Edwards, right? One of the employees, senior person in the company, has also been exceptional. We've also had a very good relationship with the local staff here at Colihaut. As a matter of fact, I had suggested to Colihaut about 10 years ago about expanding into Portsmouth because they were growing quite rapidly to over 800 employees and huge potential there. The challenge Colihaut has always had is getting people to work and the number of people. And they've said to me, look, if we can get people to work, we can have 1,005, we can have 2,000 employees at Colihaut. And so I'm happy that after these years that they have agreed to expand into Portsmouth. I think COVID-19 has placed some challenges on them with regards to physical distancing and having to allow their staff to work at home. And so events have really facilitated this, and of course the ladies here, very powerful ladies at Colihaut, have been very instrumental in advancing this idea of expanding the Portsmouth. So once they approached us to Portsmouth, we immediately indicated to them that we'll partner with them. And we identified this building on the former Ross campus that we believe would have been ideal. We brought Colihaut here. They said, great, the space is sufficient. And they proposed the changes to the floor space that we required to facilitate the use of the building. So here it's under refurbishment. We have to hand over the building to them by January 5th, thereabout. They are satisfied with the progress, and Colihaut have said that we are on schedule. So once they say that, I can't object to that and so forth. Once they're happy, we're happy. So from the government standpoint, we are also underwriting the cost of refurbishing the structure. Colihaut will do the furnishings and the other aspects, but in terms of the redesign of the floor space, the government is underwriting the cost of this, and it's an important investment. Colihaut eventually will provide a minimum of 300 jobs in Portsmouth. The space here, they've told me, will accommodate 178, and we have indicated to them that we're prepared to build another structure for their use. And so we'll await their instructions on this, but they will get moving in January, God's willing, and it's an opportunity for all of us enough to avail ourselves to those jobs, because most times people say no jobs, where the jobs, but when the jobs are made available, sometimes you cannot get the people willing to take advantage of the jobs. And Colihaut is a great company to work for. You have a base salary, and of course you can make extras based on your work hours. And there have been people who've been there with them for 10, 15 years. So it's a great company to work with. You're exposed to international firms, American-based firms. So I'm urging young people, to reach out to Colihaut, apply, get interviewed, and you pass the interview, you go for training, and training you're working, and you have almost a full-time job, permanent job once you are diligent and you're able to deliver based on the terms of references. So we're very happy for this. I think this augurs well for Portsmouth and the North of Dominica. With all what you're doing, this is going to complement Portsmouth. One can imagine having 178, 300 people, young people around Portsmouth, the bars, the restaurants, the supermarkets, rental of accommodation. Because you're going to have people coming from Roseau and from Lapland working here. If we can leave Dominica and go to the United States to work, why can't we leave Lapland and come to Portsmouth to work? And so people must not only look at their villages and say, well, there's no job in my village. But what about Portsmouth? What about Colihaut? You have an opportunity for Colihaut. So we are working very closely with Colihaut, and I wanted to come here myself to see the progress along with Colihaut, so they could tell me directly, not through a third party, that they're okay with what's happening, and so we can ensure that we deliver this building on January 5th, God's willing. So I'm happy for Portsmouth and for the North and for the entire country, because 300 jobs in this period, people are talking about cutting, but we're talking about creating more opportunities for jobs and so forth. And just to say that we are also very confident that come 2023, the first semester in 2023, that we are confident that we will get a replacement university for the Ross from a Ross campus. And once we get that going, then it will really bring things in a fuller circle, with Colihaut adding even greater value to what obtained before. Because with 300 people employed, you can imagine the circulation of money and foreign exchange, because the money is coming from the salaries are coming from overseas. The funds are generated, so it's a huge foreign exchange that's coming to Dominica, because all of Colihaut's clients are foreign companies, and the foreign exchange is sent here. So Colihaut is really it's a story that needs to be told about its impact on the Dominican economy, in terms of foreign exchange, in terms of circulation of monies in the economy, in terms of employment opportunities. It's one of the largest employees at the government.
Something that I've looked forward to since 2009. I mean, we've been there and we've been trying to make sure that not only take advantage of the fact that we have the most adaptable people in Dominica, because this month marks 16 years of successful operation of Clear Harbour in Dominica, and that has continued for 16 years. It has never stopped. There's never been any doubt. And so to have these great adaptable people who stay there and make this, successful, and then to have the partnership of a government who's there to make sure that the socioeconomics continue through the people, the local government, and that's really exciting. On behalf of Clear Harbour, we're really thankful to have this building. We've been expanding, and what we've been trying to do is send people home so that we can make space, because we have to maintain the COVID protocols in sitting. So to have this available to us and maybe even talk of more space makes us feel a little more confident in the fact that this is going to be probably another 60 years rather than 16, right? So we're very thankful.
I would say persons from as far back as Salisbury. You could, when you look at bus transportation and then you look at housing, through Picard, and there are lots of apartments available. Persons who are just completing college, persons who go to high school and do not want to continue education at the college, they can also work with us here. We have shifts, day and night, so if you're going to school in the morning or the night, you still have the opportunity. Persons who have not completed school, one of the things that Avril and I always pushed, persons who have not completed high school, and everybody think that you must have the subject CXC to come and work. We give persons that opportunity. We put together this program where we develop young persons to get used to sitting in an office, working in an office, not because you didn't complete high school that you do not get that same opportunity that other persons got. So I'm urging persons not to be shy. Don't think that you do not have what it takes. Sometimes you have what it takes, you just need a little extra push. At Clear Harbour, we do that. So we have a great team working together, and we develop young persons. So I'm urging persons to apply. You're getting this opportunity. Don't sit at home and just watching TV or taking your time and spending it on the phone. Get educated, get a job, and develop yourself for the future.
The jobs that will be created here for the persons who will be employed at this establishment is an opportunity for young persons to take advantage of the opportunity, not just to earn a salary, but to be able to in turn feed their families and put food on their tables and get economic activity going in the area. Again, of course, that Picard was a major economic driver in the area, not just for Portsmouth, but for the north and northwest. And on the departure of Ross University, the government has always worked assiduously to ensure that we could replace the economic activity and the fallout because of Ross. So this opportunity is an ideal one, and this is just one of the strategies that will unfold in this area in the near future. So we're very excited to be partnering with a success story like Clear Harbour, because they've been here successfully for the past 16 years, and to be expanding now is just tremendous. It's absolutely fascinating, and we're excited about it. And that is why we have come on board 100% to ensure that the transition is smooth in terms of the infrastructure that they need in terms of the plant, setting it up. Government is 100% behind this move, because we understand the importance of it, not just to Portsmouth firstly, but to the surrounding area and ultimately to Dominica in general. People have been coming to my office since the announcement was made by the Prime Minister. They want forms, they want to know how to apply, they want to know how to go onto the website. Some persons, like the mayor, is also a former employee of Clear Harbour. So we have already set up a meeting for next Wednesday, where we'll meet with the young persons so that some of the questions that they have can be answered, and we can give them a path towards being engaged by Clear Harbour. So the process is already in train on the ground, and we just want to crystallize it so that the operations can begin as smoothly and as seamlessly and as quickly as it possibly can.
Colihaut is a very important place to us, very sincere people. As you know, they have been affected dramatically by Erica and Maria with regard to the flooding, the river overflowing the banks. And so we started the process of building retaining walls. And so we did the first phase along the E31 highway. That may have cost us over $2.2 million, and we did a second section above the bridge on the E31 highway. And there are two critical phases which need to be done. One is in the tune of $1.5 million, and the other is in excess of $2.3 million. We've been advised by the PARC and the residents of the critical section that needs to be done now. So we will move to do so, and we will hoping that we can start this in January of 2022 to do the critical phase where the river breached its bank, and then we will do the second section, which is lower down, so that the people of Colihaut can in large measure sleep better. And I'm hoping that we can push very fast and guys can work 7 days a week so that we can have this thing in place before the hurricane season.
Well, that has been a nightmare for the people of Colihaut. I remember launching for 2019 election, there was somebody with a placard, we need our river wall. If as you walk down the village, you'll also see that sign on that same gentleman's door. And the whole thing, the trauma, every time it rains, the people are frightened. And so we, at first, it would have been built long because the government had already established the costing for the entire wall. And the money was available at the time, but we didn't have COVID or other things like that. But because these are not normal times, very unusual times, and so you have to put things in priority. And so we had to revisit, talk to the people, and see if we had to do it in phases, which would be the most important area that we should start with. So for Erica and Maria, the river broke through one specific area coming down to the village. And so the consensus of the people, if anything has to be done, this is the most critical area we should tackle first. The designs are already in place, the submissions have been made, and the area that is the most critical area, which is about 85 meters of wall, costing in the region of $1.5 million, that first phase is already well on the way, and come January, the works will start. So people will feel at ease and feel ready. Because even the rains that we had recently, before the rains, when it's heavy, the people call and say, what are we doing? So I think this is a sign of hope for them. And they say Christmas brings cheer. And I think just the visit, as I said prior, will give them that cheer and that, consolation that things will happen for the people of Colihaut.
Of course, we're here at the new health center in Colihaut. Colihaut was one of the villages which benefited from a new health center. I must say that the nurse there is doing a fantastic job in keeping the facilities clean and for the cleaner. And the nurse has told me that she is very happy with accommodation here and can provide much better services to the residents. So we're very happy to be here.
These health centers were built in order to address the infrastructure in terms of primary health care in our community. We already know that the Ministry of Health is already well staffed, but what was missing was proper infrastructure, proper buildings so that they could conduct their duties. And the Colihaut Health Center is one of these buildings. So we are here today in what is actually a completed Colihaut Health Center, and it is there to facilitate the primary health care in the village of Colihaut. It is fitted with a doctor's room, with a maternity section. There's also an accident and emergency sections. There is also residence and the upstairs area for the nurse. So nurses will no longer have to reside out of the village. So having said this, we know that healthcare in Dominica is moving forward. So the people have healthcare right to their access. It is accessible, it's affordable. So all they have to do is come to the health center. And we also call it a wellness center. As you know, you don't have to be sick to come to the health center. You could come and do periodic checks to know that your health is in order. And the people of Colihaut, I'm sure, are very, very happy for this new structure that they have now to deliver healthcare to them, and I'm very happy to.
I just want to give God praise and thanks, because nothing in life is not of Him, and He ordered this visit today. It was planned, and so I'm thankful for all those who are here who made it possible, at least giving a little hope to my people of Colihaut. And it's very encouraging, because my people have been going through a little, Maria, Erica, and a lot of trauma. And to see today that we are here in this building, it's something that they are very, very thankful for, something they were looking forward to, I think, since last year. But nothing in life happens before its time. And so gradually we've moved into that, and I think it's a joy for the community of Colihaut. They can look up to this building, the services that it will offer, and say thank God for the Prime Minister, thank God for the Dominica Labour Party government for thinking of them in that realm.